Aloha, everybody. This is Dave Wallace, and I'm experimenting with the effect of shadows and light. Welcome. Today, I'm going to be sharing a story with you that occurred uh, during my call as a and practice as a healer. And this particular incident occurred with one of my close friends, and she was having some problems. And this problems was for some reason, while she was sitting down at work, and started off at work and at home, she started to get scratches on all over her body, especially on the side of her arm and the side to her side by her rib, and sometimes at the back. And so these scratches were occurring random, and sometimes while she's awake and not aware of anything happening around her, and she feels a scratch, and there would be a physical scratch there, and it began to bother her, and so she started reaching out for assistance, and I was recommended to investigate what was going on. And so when I was called on, I called and started asking questions, and to find out what was happening in her life. And after receiving permission from her, I went into meditation. And in my meditation, I was able to locate something very strange that was attached to her side. And at first, it looked like a ball of energy or light that was that had attached itself, something like an OP or a parasite, to her side, um, near her back and small of her back, and it was lodged there. And so, as I started asking a question, what was it? And it began to take human form. And as it began to take human form, I noticed it was something that looked human but wasn't fully developed. So my impressions after seeing this attachment to her that was lodged in her back, the impressions that I had was that it was a fetus. And so I called her up and I asked some important questions like, did she experience some kind of miscarriage? And um, her reply was yes. She had recently experienced a miscarriage, and this is one in a string of many miscarriages before that. So this attachment made sense in a way that it was a fetus. And then the next question, obvious question, was why was this fetus attaching itself to the mom? So after I made the inquiries, I asked my friend if something unusual had occurred just before the the scratches started appearing on her, and she told me that after her latest miscarriage, she had a talk with her husband, and it was decided that they stopped trying becoming to become pregnant. And after making that decision, that's when this fetus started to act up, and she started receiving the scratches. So, from me looking into the situation, I came to realize that this fetus was angry with the mom because the mom had decided to stop trying to bring this child into into the physical world, and this fetus was acting out, kind of like reminding it was angry at the mom for doing that. And apparently, this particular fetus had grown and developed, and when she aborted this fetus. It was there was something there, and so there was something that they could actually bury. So in trying to find a way to resolve this issue that this fetus had with the mom, I decided to take it a step further, and I gave instructions to the mom that I found out that they had buried this baby, but the baby was unnamed, and an unnamed baby uh, has no family basically, so it's kind of left drifting. So while talking with the mom over the phone, I looked out of my window and here in Wahiwa, and I saw um, a cloud formation that first started off as a that looked like a developing fetus. So it drew my attention to the cloud. And as this cloud began to morph and change with the winds, it created a young girl that looked like was dressed as a ballerina in a tutu, and a beautiful dancing little girl. So I told the mom, I was on the phone talking with the mom, and said, this fetus is a girl, and it needed a name that would bring out the dancing quality and enjoyment of life. And they were able to come up with a name for this child. They gave this fetus a name and accepted it into the family. And I instructed them on how to accept the child, give the name, and accept the child into the family so that her ancestors could come and claim this unborn fetus, the spirit, and have them join the ancestors in the next world. So after they went through the instructions and carried out all of these instructions and did the purifications and washing of themselves in the ocean, the scratching stopped, the nagging stopped. So it appears that the fetus was satisfied and was able to make the transition to the next world, um, and enjoyed being part of the family. So this is one of the more fulfilling um, cases that I worked with involving an angry fetus. And I hope you enjoyed this story. And please, if you enjoy this story, subscribe and share it with others who may appreciate these things. Okay? And this is Dave Wallace saying mahalo for being with me, and see you folks next week. Aloha.